Tupac Shakur, a name that echoes far beyond music, a cultural icon, a poet, a revolutionary voice of the streets. But his story ended violently in Las Vegas, leaving behind more questions than answers. Who really shot Tupac? Was it a gang hit, a rap feud gone too far, or something deeper, more sinister? In the summer of 1996, Tupac Shakur was riding high. He had just starred in several films, released his hit album All Eyes on Me, and signed to Death Row Records under the infamous Suge Knight. But behind the spotlight, Tupac's life was spiraling. Tensions in the rap world had reached a boiling point. The East Coast-West Coast rivalry, fueled by media and violent confrontations, made headlines daily. Tupac was at the center, exchanging lyrical fire with the notorious Big and Bad Boy Records. On September 7, 1996, Tupac attended the Mike Tyson vs. Bruce Seldon boxing match at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. What was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into a moment of destiny. After the match, Tupac and his entourage were caught on surveillance assaulting a Crip gang member named Orlando Anderson in the hotel lobby. Hours later, Tupac would be gunned down on the Las Vegas Strip. Was this act of violence retaliation? Or had Tupac's enemies finally caught up with him? At around 11:15 p.m. on September 7, 1996, Tupac was in the passenger seat of a black BMW driven by Suge Knight. They were heading to Club 662, a Death Row Records-owned venue for an after-party. As they waited at a red light on Flamingo Road and Koval Lane, a white Cadillac pulled up beside them. Suddenly, 4 shots rang out, followed by more in rapid succession. Tupac was hit 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. The chaos was instant. Suge Knight, despite being grazed in the head by shrapnel, managed to speed away from the scene. He drove Tupac to the intersection where police were already stationed. Officers called for paramedics. Tupac was taken to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, where he underwent multiple surgeries. For 6 days, he fought for his life. On September 13, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead. The world mourned, but behind the grief, a haunting question lingered. Who pulled the trigger? The Cadillac and its occupants vanished into the night. No arrests were made, no charges filed. It wasn't just a murder, it was the silencing of a generation's voice. And the silence would be filled with conspiracy, doubt, and anger for decades to come. In the days following Tupac's death, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department began their investigation. But right from the start, it was riddled with problems, a lack of cooperation, missing witnesses, and a street code of silence. The primary suspect, Orlando Anderson, the man Tupac and his crew had beaten earlier that night, was questioned by police but never arrested. He denied involvement and was released without charges. Meanwhile, theories flooded the media. Some claimed it was gang retaliation. Others believed it was a hit, ordered by rivals in the rap industry. And then there were whispers of law enforcement involvement, or even a deeper government conspiracy. Despite being one of the most high-profile murders in American pop culture, the case went cold within months. Witnesses claimed fear of retaliation, others simply vanished, and some believed that Tupac was never meant to get justice. Las Vegas police cited a lack of evidence and unwilling witnesses, but many felt the investigation was deliberately botched. How could a murder on a busy street, just minutes from the Strip, remain unsolved? Even Suge Knight, the only person in the car with Tupac that night, offered little clarity. He claimed to have seen nothing. Some believe he was protecting himself. Others suspect he knew far more than he let on. As the official investigation stalled, fans and theorists took over. The mystery around Tupac's death gave rise to a wave of conspiracy theories, some grounded in fact, others veering into the fantastical. One popular theory was that Tupac faked his death. Supporters pointed to the lack of clear photos from the hospital, discrepancies in the autopsy report, and his fascination with Machiavelli, the philosopher who once wrote about faking one's death to fool enemies. Others suspected the East Coast rap scene, particularly Sean Diddy Combs and the notorious Big, although Biggie himself was murdered just 6 months later under similarly mysterious circumstances. Then came the theory that Death Row Records' Suge Knight orchestrated the hit. Some believe Tupac was planning to leave the label, and Suge saw him as a liability. Others argue that Knight, who was in the line of fire, wouldn't have risked his own life. There were even claims of LAPD involvement, sparked by Tupac's outspoken stance on police brutality and his growing political influence. A few retired officers later admitted that corruption in the force ran deep during the 1990s. To this day, new theories emerge with each anniversary of his death. The truth remains buried beneath years of silence, fear, and conflicting accounts. For decades, Tupac's murder remained one of America's most notorious cold cases. But in 2023, everything changed. Las Vegas police announced a shocking development. They had arrested Dwayne Keffe D. Davis, a former Compton gang member, in connection to the murder. Keffe D. wasn't unknown to investigators. In interviews and a 2019 memoir, he had openly admitted to being in the white Cadillac the night Tupac was shot. He even claimed to have handed the gun to the shooter, although he never said who pulled the trigger. Police cited these confessions, many on camera and in podcasts, as the breakthrough they needed. In September 2023, they raided Keffe D's home, gathering evidence to finally charge him with murder. But many remained skeptical. Why now? Why, after 27 years of silence and inaction, was the case suddenly reopened? Some saw it as justice delayed. Others called it a distraction, a convenient scapegoat tied to old confessions. Regardless, Keffe D's arrest marked a pivotal moment. It reignited public interest and brought the possibility of closure to a case long thought dead. Still, many questions remain unanswered. Was Keffe D telling the full truth? Who else was in the car that night? And most haunting of all, why did it take nearly 3 decades to get here? Tupac Shakur's death wasn't just the loss of a rapper, it was the silencing of a generation's voice. His music tackled poverty, injustice, racism, and police brutality. He was more than a performer, he was a movement. Even after his death, Tupac remained a cultural force. Posthumous albums topped charts. Documentaries, books, murals, and films kept his message alive. To many, he was a prophet, someone who saw the storm coming long before it hit. Yet, despite the music, the tributes, and the new arrests, a final answer remains out of reach. Every theory, every headline, every podcast only adds more fog to a case already thick with contradictions. Was it gang retaliation? Was it music industry politics? A betrayal from the inside? Or was Tupac targeted for being too powerful, too outspoken, and too revolutionary? For Tupac's family, friends, and fans, closure still feels far away. A conviction may come, but the full truth might never see daylight. Too many players, too many secrets, too much time lost. But one truth stands above all. Tupac Amaru Shakur changed the world, and no bullet, no conspiracy can erase what he created. His voice still echoes through headphones, car speakers, and city streets. And as long as his music plays, the question will remain, who shot Tupac, and why did they want him gone?